Every day we face provocations that test our resolve. Picture this. Someone cuts you off in traffic, your colleague undermines your ideas in a meeting, or a friend makes a snide remark. In those moments, the urge to react, to lash out, is overwhelming. But what if I told you that the true power lies not in the reaction, but in the restraint? Imagine standing at a crossroads, where a single choice could define your character. Do you unleash your anger, or do you pause, breathe, and rise above? Think about it. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're not just demonstrating self-control, you're rewriting your narrative. The moment you resist that impulse, you reclaim your power. You become the master of your emotions instead of a slave to them. But it's not easy. The world is relentless in its attempts to provoke us. So, how do we cultivate this elusive skill of self-control? What strategies can we employ to transform frustration into fortitude? As we dive deeper, let's uncover the secrets behind maintaining composure when life tries to pull us into the storm. Are you ready to challenge yourself and discover the strength within? If you're looking for more emotional balance, clarity in decision-making, and want to learn how to handle life better, this content is for you. So go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because with each video you'll grow stronger on the inside and see life with greater wisdom. Definition of self-control and its relationship with emotion. Self-control is often described as the ability to regulate one's emotions, thoughts, and behaviors in the face of temptations and impulses. It's like having an internal brake system that helps us pause and think before we act. Think about those moments when we feel overwhelmed by our emotions. Whether it's anger, sadness, or excitement, these feelings can cloud our judgment and lead us to act in ways we might later regret. Self-control acts as a buffer against those impulses, allowing us to take a step back and assess the situation more clearly. Emotions are powerful forces that can drive our actions. When we're feeling particularly emotional, it can be challenging to maintain self-control. For instance, if someone criticizes us, anger may surge, prompting us to lash out. However, self-control helps us recognize that our immediate reaction may not be the best course of action. Instead of responding with hostility, we can choose to remain calm and composed. This doesn't mean we suppress our feelings. Rather, we acknowledge them while still exercising control over how we express them. In essence, self-control is intricately linked to emotional intelligence. It allows us not only to understand our emotions better but also to manage how they influence our behavior. When we develop self-control, we become better equipped to navigate the ups and downs of life without being controlled by our feelings. This ability to manage emotions is crucial, especially in high-stress situations where our instincts might lead us astray. Another important aspect of self-control is its role in decision-making. When we are emotionally charged, our decisions can become impulsive and irrational. Self-control helps us to weigh our options carefully, considering the long-term consequences of our actions rather than just the immediate gratification that might come from acting on impulse. This deliberative approach often leads to better outcomes, both personally and professionally. Lastly, self-control is not just about resisting temptation. It's also about understanding the emotional triggers that lead us to act impulsively. By identifying these triggers, we can develop strategies to cope with them more effectively. This self-awareness is a crucial step in mastering self-control and enhancing our emotional resilience. With practice, we can learn to harness our emotions rather than be overwhelmed by them. The role of self-control in managing interpersonal conflicts. Interpersonal conflicts are a part of life, whether at home, work, or in social circles. Self-control plays a pivotal role in how we navigate these conflicts. When tensions rise, our emotions can easily take the reins, leading to escalated arguments or misunderstandings. However, exercising self-control allows us to approach conflicts with a clearer mind and a more constructive attitude. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond thoughtfully, which often leads to more positive resolutions. In the heat of a disagreement, it's easy to focus solely on winning the argument rather than understanding the other person's perspective. Self-control helps us to pause and consider the feelings of others involved. By taking a step back, we can listen actively and empathize with their viewpoints, which is crucial for conflict resolution. Rather than becoming defensive, we can engage in a dialogue that fosters understanding and collaboration. Moreover, self-control can prevent the conflict from escalating. When one person remains calm and composed, it often encourages the other party to do the same. This can create a more conducive environment for resolving the issue at hand. It's like throwing a lifeline into turbulent waters. A calm demeanor can help stabilize the situation and pave the way for constructive communication. Additionally, self-control allows us to manage our own emotional responses during conflicts. Instead of letting anger or frustration dictate our actions, we can choose to express ourselves in a more measured way. This not only helps in resolving the conflict but also contributes to building trust and respect in our relationships. When others see that we can handle disagreements with grace, it sets a positive tone for future interactions. Finally, developing self-control in conflict situations is a skill that can be cultivated over time. It involves practice and a commitment to personal growth. Techniques such as mindfulness, active listening, and even seeking feedback from trusted friends can enhance our ability to manage conflicts more effectively. As we refine these skills, we become more adept at navigating the often challenging waters of interpersonal relationships. How self-control can prevent impulsive reactions. Impulsive reactions can lead to a host of negative consequences, both for ourselves and those around us. Whether it's saying something hurtful in the heat of the moment or making a hasty decision that we later regret, impulsivity can derail our intentions and goals. This is where self-control comes into play as a crucial tool for preventing those knee-jerk responses that we often come to regret. One of the key benefits of self-control is its ability to create a pause between stimulus and response. When we feel an impulse, whether it's anger, excitement, or frustration, self-control allows us to take a breath and consider our options before acting. This moment of reflection can be invaluable. It gives us the chance to evaluate the situation and decide on a response that aligns with our values and long-term goals rather than one that might be driven purely by emotion. Moreover, self-control enables us to recognize our triggers and patterns of behavior that lead to impulsive reactions. By becoming more aware of what prompts these reactions, we can develop strategies to manage them effectively. For instance, if we know that certain situations tend to provoke us, we can prepare ourselves in advance, employing techniques such as visualization or self-talk to help us respond more mindfully. Another aspect of preventing impulsive reactions is the role of emotional regulation. Self-control is closely tied to our ability to manage our emotions, which is essential for curbing impulsivity. When we practice self-regulation, we learn to express our emotions in healthy ways rather than allowing them to dictate our actions. This can involve using techniques such as deep breathing, counting to 10, or even stepping away from a heated situation to regain composure. Lastly, cultivating self-control takes time and effort, but the rewards are well worth it. By working on this skill, we can enhance our relationships, improve our decision-making abilities, and lead a more fulfilling life. The more we practice self-control, the more it becomes ingrained in our everyday behavior, helping us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively in various situations. The influence of self-control on mental health and well-being. Self-control is not just a tool for managing behaviors, it also plays a significant role in our mental health and overall well-being. By helping us regulate our emotions and actions, self-control can lead to reduced stress and anxiety. When we can manage our impulses and reactions, we create a more stable emotional environment for ourselves. This stability is crucial for maintaining good mental health, as it allows us to navigate life's challenges without becoming overwhelmed. For instance, individuals with higher self-control are often better equipped to cope with stress. They can approach problems with a clear mind and a sense of agency, rather than feeling at the mercy of their emotions. This proactive approach to stress management not only enhances resilience but also contributes to a greater sense of well-being and satisfaction in life. Moreover, self-control has been linked to positive behaviors that promote mental health, such as regular exercise, healthy eating, and adequate sleep. When we exercise self-control, we are less likely to indulge in unhealthy habits that can have detrimental effects on our mental health. Instead, we make conscious choices that align with our goals for well-being, which can lead to improved mood and overall mental health. Additionally, self-control can enhance our relationships, which are crucial for mental well-being. When we practice self-control in our interactions with others, we are more likely to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts peacefully, and build stronger connections. Healthy relationships contribute significantly to our mental health, providing us with support and a sense of belonging. Lastly, the journey of developing self-control is also a path of personal growth and self-discovery. As we learn to manage our impulses and emotions, we gain insights into our behavior and motivations. This self-awareness fosters a deeper understanding of ourselves, contributing to a more fulfilling life. Ultimately, the influence of self-control on mental health is profound, as it empowers us to take charge of our lives and cultivate a sense of well-being that is sustainable over time. Strategies for developing self-control in provocative situations. Developing self-control, especially in provocative situations, is a skill that can greatly enhance our ability to handle challenges effectively. One effective strategy is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we encounter a provocative situation, taking a moment to breathe and center ourselves can create the space we need to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Another useful strategy is to set clear intentions before facing potentially triggering situations. By outlining how we want to respond in advance, we can mentally prepare ourselves to maintain our composure. For example, if we know we will be having a difficult conversation, visualizing a calm and constructive dialogue can help reinforce our commitment to self-control when the moment arrives. Creating a plan for dealing with provocations can also be beneficial. This might involve identifying specific techniques we can use to de-escalate our emotions, such as counting to 10, taking deep breaths, or even excusing ourselves from the situation momentarily. Having a toolbox of coping strategies ready to deploy can empower us to maintain our self-control when faced with challenges. Additionally, seeking support from others can be an effective way to bolster our self-control. Talking to friends, family, or a therapist about our struggles with impulsivity can provide us with valuable insights and encouragement. They may offer different perspectives or strategies that we haven't considered, helping us to navigate provocative situations with greater ease. Lastly, practicing self-compassion is essential in this journey. We all face moments of weakness, and it's crucial to treat ourselves with kindness rather than harsh judgment. Acknowledging that self-control is a skill that takes time to develop can alleviate the pressure we might. The impact of self-control on social and family relationships. Self-control significantly influences how we interact with others, especially within our closest circles. When we exercise self-control, we create an environment where communication can flow more smoothly. For instance, think about those moments when a family member says something that rubs you the wrong way. If you can manage your immediate emotional response, you have the opportunity to engage in a constructive dialogue rather than getting caught up in a heated argument. This ability to pause and reflect before reacting is a cornerstone of strong family dynamics. Moreover, self-control can help mitigate conflicts in social settings. Picture a gathering where tensions might run high due to differing opinions. When someone exhibits self-control, they can navigate these discussions with grace, promoting understanding rather than discord. This doesn't just benefit the individual, it reverberates throughout the entire group, fostering a sense of safety and respect among participants. In this way, self-control becomes a social lubricant, making interactions more pleasant and productive. Additionally, families that prioritize self-control often experience less drama and more cohesion. Parents who model self-control teach their children vital skills for managing their emotions and reactions. These children grow up understanding that it's okay to feel upset but that they have the power to choose how to respond. Over time, this creates a cycle of positive behavior, where each generation learns the importance of self-regulation in nurturing relationships. Self-control also plays a crucial role in establishing boundaries. In any relationship, whether familial or social, boundaries are essential for mutual respect. When we practice self-control, we are often better equipped to assert our needs without resorting to aggression or passive aggression. This balance leads to healthier relationships where everyone feels valued and understood. By setting and respecting boundaries, we foster an atmosphere of trust and safety. Lastly, the impact of self-control extends beyond immediate interactions. The lasting effects of exhibiting self-control can lead to stronger, more resilient relationships. When we consistently practice self-regulation, we build a reputation as someone who is reliable and thoughtful. Over time, this reputation enhances our social capital, making it easier to forge new connections and maintain existing ones. In essence, self-control not only shapes our individual relationships but also contributes to a more harmonious community. The importance of self-control in work environments. In the workplace, self-control emerges as a vital skill that can set individuals apart. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of deadlines and deliverables, but those who maintain their composure tend to excel. When stress levels rise, the ability to manage one's emotions can mean the difference between a successful project and a chaotic one. Colleagues notice when someone can stay calm under pressure, and this often leads to greater trust and respect within teams. Furthermore, self-control is essential for effective leadership. Leaders who exhibit self-control inspire their teams to do the same. Imagine a manager who maintains a level head during a crisis. Their team is likely to follow suit, leading to a more organized and effective response. On the other hand, a leader who reacts impulsively can create an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty, which can stifle creativity and innovation. Thus, self-control becomes a foundational element in fostering a positive workplace culture. In addition, self-control is linked to better decision-making. In high-stakes environments, the ability to pause and reflect before acting can lead to more thoughtful choices. This is particularly important in roles that require strategic thinking and problem-solving. When we allow our emotions to dictate our decisions, we risk making choices that could have long-term consequences. By exercising self-control, we can analyze situations more clearly and arrive at decisions that align with our values and goals. Moreover, self-control contributes to personal productivity. Those who can resist distractions and manage their impulses tend to accomplish more in less time. In an era where distractions are plentiful, mastering self-control can create a significant advantage. By focusing on tasks and not succumbing to the temptation of procrastination, individuals can not only enhance their performance but also experience a greater sense of satisfaction in their work. Lastly, the benefits of self-control in the workplace extend to interpersonal relationships among colleagues. When team members exercise self-restraint in their interactions, they create an atmosphere of professionalism and respect. This can lead to more effective collaboration and improved morale. In environments where self-control is valued, teams are more likely to support one another, celebrate successes, and navigate challenges together, ultimately contributing to a more cohesive and productive work environment. The difference between self-control and emotional suppression. Self-control and emotional suppression are often confused, but they represent fundamentally different approaches to managing emotions. Self-control involves acknowledging and regulating emotions in a healthy manner, while suppression tends to push feelings down, often leading to negative consequences. When we practice self-control, we don't ignore our feelings. Instead, we choose how to respond to them constructively. This distinction is crucial for emotional well-being. For instance, consider a situation where someone receives critical feedback at work. A person exercising self-control might take a deep breath, acknowledge their initial feelings of defensiveness and respond thoughtfully. In contrast, someone who suppresses their emotions might smile and nod while internally feeling angry or hurt. This suppression can lead to increased stress and resentment, which can ultimately harm their mental health and relationships with colleagues. Additionally, self-control fosters emotional awareness. When we take the time to understand our emotions, we can better navigate them. This awareness allows us to express our feelings appropriately, whether that means discussing our feelings with a friend or addressing a concern with a partner. On the other hand, suppression can lead to a disconnection from one's emotions, resulting in a lack of understanding and empathy toward oneself and others. Moreover, self-control encourages emotional growth. By allowing ourselves to experience and regulate our emotions, we open the door to learning from them. Each emotion, whether positive or negative, carries valuable information. When we practice self-control, we can reflect on these emotions and use them to inform our future actions. Suppression, however, stunts this growth, keeping us stuck in a cycle of unprocessed feelings and reactions. Lastly, the long-term consequences of self-control versus suppression can be stark. Individuals who practice self-control often experience better relationships and improved mental health. They are more likely to engage in open communication, leading to stronger bonds with others. Conversely, those who rely on emotional suppression may struggle with anxiety or depression, as unaddressed emotions can manifest in harmful ways. Understanding this distinction is vital for anyone looking to enhance their emotional intelligence and overall well-being. The role of empathy in strengthening self-control. Empathy and self-control are intricately linked, with each reinforcing the other in meaningful ways. When we cultivate empathy, we enhance our ability to regulate our emotions and reactions. Empathy allows us to step into someone else's shoes, fostering a deeper understanding of their feelings and perspectives. This understanding can create a natural pause in our emotional responses, allowing us to exercise self-control more effectively. For example, consider a situation where a friend is upset and lashes out during a conversation. If we can empathize with their situation, we may feel more inclined to respond with patience and compassion rather than anger. This empathetic response not only helps us maintain our self-control but also strengthens our relationship with the other person. Empathy serves as a catalyst for self-regulation, creating a more harmonious interaction. Furthermore, empathy can help us anticipate the emotional impact of our actions on others. When we are aware of how our words or behaviors might affect someone else, we are more likely to exercise restraint. This foresight is a powerful tool for self-control, as it encourages us to think before we act. By considering the feelings of others, we create a framework for more thoughtful, considerate responses. In addition, empathy can soften our own emotional reactions. When we see a situation from another person's perspective, it can diminish feelings of frustration or anger. This reduction in negative emotions can lead to more constructive responses, allowing us to exercise self-control more easily. By nurturing empathy within ourselves, we create a reservoir of emotional resources that can support our ability to regulate our actions. Lastly, the interplay between empathy and self-control can lead to more resilient relationships. When we respond to others with empathy and self-control, we build a foundation of trust and respect. This foundation allows for open communication and vulnerability, strengthening the bonds we share with others. In this way, empathy not only enhances our self-control but also enriches our interactions, leading to more fulfilling relationships across all areas of our lives. Historical examples of self-control in challenging situations. History is replete with examples of individuals demonstrating remarkable self-control in the face of adversity. One of the most notable figures is Mahatma Gandhi, who practiced nonviolent resistance during the struggle for India's independence. Gandhi's ability to remain calm and composed in the face of oppression and violence exemplifies self-control at its highest level. He understood that reacting with anger would only perpetuate the cycle of violence, so he chose a path of peaceful protest, demonstrating the profound impact of self-control on social change. Another significant example is Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison for his anti-apartheid activism. Throughout this time, Mandela maintained a steadfast commitment to his principles, refusing to let anger or bitterness dictate his actions. His self-control not only allowed him to endure the hardships of imprisonment but also enabled him to emerge as a leader who could unite a divided nation. Mandela's journey underscores how self-control can transform personal suffering into a powerful force for positive change. In a different context, consider the story of Rosa Parks, whose refusal to give up her seat on a segregated bus sparked the civil rights movement in the United States. Parks exhibited remarkable self-control as she calmly refused to comply with an unjust law, knowing that her actions could lead to arrest. Her decision was not impulsive. It was a deliberate act of resistance that required immense courage and self-regulation. Parks' example illustrates how self-control can serve as a catalyst for social progress. Additionally, the story of Viktor Frankl, the relationship between self-control and emotional intelligence. When we talk about self-control, it's hard not to mention emotional intelligence. To me, it's almost like they go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is that ability we have to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions while also being aware of others' feelings. Self-control, on the other hand, is that inner strength that helps us regulate our responses to those emotions. Imagine being in a heated discussion with someone. Your heart races, your palms get sweaty, and it feels like you could explode. But if you have a high EQ, you can recognize that surge of emotion and choose to respond calmly instead of reacting impulsively. That's the beauty of self-control intertwined with emotional intelligence. Sometimes, it's easy to overlook how these two concepts interact in our daily lives. For instance, think about a time when you felt overwhelmed at work. Maybe you got some harsh feedback from your boss, and your first instinct was to snap back defensively. But if you harness your emotional intelligence, you can take a step back, breathe, and consider the feedback objectively. That's self-control in action. It's about pausing long enough to evaluate your emotions and choosing a response that aligns with your long-term goals rather than your immediate feelings. When we cultivate our emotional intelligence, we naturally enhance our self-control. Another aspect to consider is how self-control can help us manage our relationships. Have you ever had a friend who tends to blow up at the slightest provocation? It's exhausting, right? On the flip side, when we practice self-control, we can respond to our friends with empathy and understanding, even when they're at their worst. This doesn't mean we suppress our feelings, far from it. Instead, it's about acknowledging our emotions, understanding where they come from, and using that knowledge to engage constructively with others. It's like having a toolkit for emotional interactions, where self-control is one of the most essential tools. In challenging situations, self-control can also serve as a buffer against stress. Think about it. When we're stressed, our emotional reactions can be heightened. But having emotional intelligence allows us to identify that stress early on and implement strategies to mitigate it. For instance, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I might take a moment to practice deep breathing or engage in positive self-talk. These techniques help me regain control over my emotions, allowing me to respond more effectively to whatever challenges I'm facing. This cycle of awareness and regulation is crucial for personal growth and resilience. Lastly, the synergy between self-control and emotional intelligence isn't just beneficial for individuals. It extends to our communities and workplaces. When we all practice self-control and emotional intelligence, we create environments where people feel safe to express themselves and collaborate. This leads to healthier relationships and a more supportive atmosphere overall. So, the next time you're in a situation that tests your self-control, remember that your emotional intelligence can guide you through, making the experience not just manageable but also an opportunity for growth. Mindfulness techniques and self-control in the face of provocation. When talking about self-control, mindfulness is a game changer. Mindfulness is all about being present in the moment and fully aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment. It's like hitting the pause button on life, allowing us to step back and observe our emotions rather than react impulsively. Imagine you're in a heated argument, and your blood pressure is rising. Instead of lashing out, you take a deep breath and focus on your breathing. This simple act of mindfulness can help ground you and give you the clarity you need to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting in anger. One technique I've found particularly useful is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise. When I feel the urge to react, I take a moment to identify 5 things I can see, 4 things I can touch, 3 things I can hear, 2 things I can smell, and 1 thing I can taste. This practice not only distracts me from the escalating emotions but also brings my awareness back to the present moment. It's a fantastic way to re-establish control over my mind and body, allowing me to approach the situation with a clear head instead of a hot temper. Another effective mindfulness strategy is meditation. Setting aside even just a few minutes each day to meditate can significantly enhance your self-control. During meditation, I focus on my breath, letting thoughts come and go without judgment. Over time, this practice strengthens my ability to remain calm in the face of provocations. I've noticed that the more I meditate, the better I become at recognizing my emotional triggers. This awareness is crucial because, once I know what provokes me, I can strategize on how to respond instead of reacting. Mindfulness also teaches us the importance of self-compassion. When we practice self-control, it's easy to be hard on ourselves, especially when we slip up. Mindfulness encourages us to treat ourselves with kindness, recognizing that everyone makes mistakes. For instance, if I lose my temper in a difficult situation, instead of dwelling on it, I remind myself that it's a part of being human. This self-compassion helps me bounce back more quickly and reinforces my commitment to improving my self-control in the future. Lastly, incorporating mindfulness into daily routines can significantly impact our overall ability to manage emotions. Whether it's taking mindful walks, practicing yoga, or simply being fully present during conversations, these practices can enhance our self-control. They help us build a reservoir of calmness that we can draw upon when faced with challenging situations. By integrating mindfulness into our lives, we not only improve our self-control but also enrich our emotional experiences, leading to healthier, more fulfilling interactions. How self-control influences decision-making. Self-control plays a vital role in how we make decisions, often determining the outcomes of our choices. Think about those moments when you're faced with a tempting situation, like indulging in junk food or skipping a workout. It's in these moments that self-control kicks in, guiding us to make choices that align with our long-term goals rather than our immediate desires. Personally, I've had my fair share of struggles with this. There are days when all I want is a slice of pizza, but I remind myself of my health goals. My ability to exercise self-control helps steer my decision-making process in a healthier direction. Research suggests that self-control can significantly impact our ability to weigh the pros and cons of a situation. When we practice self-control, we're better equipped to think critically and evaluate our choices. For instance, when faced with a big decision, like whether to take a new job offer or stay in a comfortable position, self-control allows us to consider the long-term implications rather than just the immediate benefits. This kind of strategic thinking is crucial for making informed decisions that can lead to greater satisfaction in the long run. Moreover, self-control influences our ability to delay gratification. It's tempting to indulge in short-term pleasures, but those decisions often come with consequences. Personally, I've found that the more I practice delaying gratification, the more empowered I feel in my decision-making. For example, when I resist the urge to binge-watch a show and instead spend that time pursuing a hobby or learning something new, I feel a sense of accomplishment. This ability to delay gratification not only enhances my self-control but also enriches my life experience. Self-control also plays a pivotal role in risk assessment. When we have strong self-control, we're more likely to evaluate potential risks and rewards carefully. This helps us avoid impulsive decisions that could lead to negative outcomes. For instance, if I'm considering making a large purchase, self-control prompts me to think about my financial situation and whether it's a wise investment. This kind of reflective decision-making can save us from regret later on, reinforcing the importance of self-control in our everyday lives. Finally, the relationship between self-control and decision-making extends beyond individual choices. It affects our interactions with others as well. In negotiations or discussions, having self-control allows us to listen actively, consider other perspectives, and respond thoughtfully. This can lead to better outcomes in both personal and professional relationships. Ultimately, self-control acts as a guiding force in our decision-making process, helping us navigate life's complexities with greater confidence and clarity. The effect of self-control on personal resilience. Building resilience is all about our ability to bounce back from challenges, and self-control plays a significant role in this process. When we encounter difficulties, our first instinct might be to react emotionally. However, having strong self-control allows us to pause and assess the situation calmly. I remember a time when I faced a major setback at work. My initial reaction was frustration and disappointment, but I took a step back, practiced self-control, and began to analyze what went wrong. This approach enabled me to learn from the experience and develop a plan for moving forward, ultimately enhancing my resilience. Self-control also helps us maintain a positive mindset in the face of adversity. Life is full of ups and downs, and our ability to manage our emotions can determine how we perceive challenges. When we exercise self-control, we can choose to focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. For instance, if I encounter a personal setback, instead of spiraling into negativity, I remind myself of the lessons I can learn. This shift in perspective is crucial for building resilience, as it empowers us to view obstacles as opportunities for growth. Moreover, self-control aids in managing stress. When we face challenging situations, stress can often cloud our judgment and lead to impulsive reactions. However, by exercising self-control, we can develop healthier coping mechanisms. For example, when I feel overwhelmed, I turn to exercise or meditation instead of resorting to unhealthy habits. These constructive choices not only help me manage stress but also contribute to my overall resilience. Over time, I've learned that the more I practice self-control, the better equipped I am to handle life's challenges. Additionally, self-control fosters a sense of agency. As we wrap up, let's reflect on those moments when provocation strikes. Think about the last time someone pushed your buttons. How did you respond? Did you react impulsively, or did you pause, breathe, and choose your reaction? Remember, the power lies in your hands. Each time we face a challenge, it's not just about the situation, it's about how we decide to respond. So, next time you feel that familiar surge of anger or frustration, ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? How can I turn this moment into an opportunity for growth? By practicing self-control, we not only elevate ourselves but also set an example for those around us. Imagine the ripple effect of your calmness and clarity in a chaotic world. Now, here's a challenge for you. In the coming week, identify one situation where you usually lose your cool. Write it down and then plan your response. How will you approach it differently? Trust me, the results may surprise you. Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's build a community where we support each other in mastering our emotions and embracing the Stoic path. Remember, every moment is a chance to practice, learn, and grow. Keep striving for that inner peace,